Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're hopping into Chaos Coliseum against page 1 that has just released on OPTC Global. Now, this particular piece of content, it's not overly tricky unless you're not bringing V4 lore. V4 lore makes this content easy claps, like ridiculously easy. Obviously the new batch helps, but there are a lot of ways to get around the certain debuffs and stuff like that page 1 and the mini bosses actually apply. So I have 3 teams for you guys today in this particular video. The first team I have for you guys is actually a free-to-play team. So this is the team here utilizing all free-to-play units, including free-to-play supports. The only thing that's probably not so free-to-play is the actual Magello ship, and unfortunately it is pretty essential as you do sort of rely on the locking mechanic as well as the damage reduction as Blackbeard is taking more damage. This Blackbeard, the treasure map Blackbeard, I believe, he's actually a 4 times int booster, so that's really strong. And then with a friend V4 lore, you just get all those extra benefits to get around the tricky pieces of the tricky mechanics that get applied, especially on the Sublimar stage. Is very annoying. So this team, as you can see, is led by Blackbeard. We have Coliseum Neptune, we have treasure map Shirahoshi, we have treasure map Reiju, and Coliseum what's his name? Sangoro, the Sobokuk. All of the supports are just stat boosters, and as I mentioned, we are running the Magello ship. This team actually did fairly well, to be honest. It was kind of clutch at the end in terms of damage, but just with V4 lore, he just does so much damage. The whole team is Cerebral and Powerhouse, so it works really well for Neptune. And yeah, so that's the free-to-play team. So the next team in the video is actually another int-based team. So it is a Blackbeard and a V4 lore hybrid team. As I mentioned, V4 lore just makes this easy collapse. We do have the new free-to-play Croc. As you can see, I have not finished my Croc, so it was a little bit different. This team would be a lot quicker if I had my Croc finished. But as most of you guys know, I have been away all weekend, so I haven't had a chance to get on top of the new content. Hopefully I'll be streaming tomorrow so I can catch up, but we'll see how I go in terms of my sleep patterns. We have the new rare recruit Boa and Buggy on this team. They are just exceptional for this particular piece of content, especially the Buggy. The Buggy's really good. And then finally we have V2 Shanks, just because it's V2 Shanks and I like V2 Shanks. He's actually our attack booster and our chain booster for this team as well. So he works really well. That way you can use Blackbeard on the Sublimar stage, and then save the Shanks crew special, or the V2 Shanks special for the final stage with the lore special. Again, we're using the Magello ship. Magello ship's not overly essential. It's a really good ship if you have an in leader. And then all the supports are actually just stat boosters. The final team is a team where I didn't want to bring V4 lore. And if you guys know me, I'm always beating content with Shanks crew. So we are using a Shanks crew and a Roger hybrid team. This team actually did it fairly well, to be honest. It's not as reliable as like a straight in team using V4 lore, but it definitely got the job done. So it is pretty pay to play heavy, unfortunately. The only notable sub is that free to play Bardo that we just got back on OPTC Global in the last Kazuna as well. He's really good. We're using the Liberal Hind ship as well, and the rest of the supports are stat boosters. We have Shanks crew, Bobbins, V3 lore, the awesome duo that is Vivi and Rebecca, and finally we have 6+ Robin. She's very important. So the other 3 teams, guys. Page 1 is a fairly interesting unit. I definitely farm him up for treasure map. But in saying that, let's hop in and let's see how the teams perform. Alright, so here we are with the free-to-play team, and on stage 3 we come up against X-Drake. Now, the downside to actually using V4 lore is it's actually very hard to stall, as he just kills everything when you take damage. As you can see, he does like 1.3 million damage every single turn after he takes damage. Depending on how much damage you take is dependent on the output that he can do at the end of the turn. It's a really cool mechanic, actually. It's like Kaido, but I don't know, it's just like you still get cooldowns, I guess, and it's not as good as Kaido, I guess, but it's pretty cool. So the downside to the non-stalling factor is getting Shirahoshi special. Now, Shirahoshi should be down at the bottom. I would definitely make sure that she's down the bottom, as you don't want her to get special sealed on the next turn. When she hits a 2-turn cooldown, that's when you can kill X-Drake and move on to stage 4 against Sober Mask and a bunch of Wano Swordsmen. Sober Mask is actually going to turn into a Psy unit, which is really handy. He puts up defense up for 5 turns, and then he special binds your top row and middle row for 5 turns as well. And then he gives you a full body block ups as well. So this is where Shirahoshi's really, really good. As we have 6 enemies, we can actually use her special and get 6 turns of 50% damage reduction, as well as 6 turns of healing for around 9k. So works really, really well here, as Law, every time we take damage, is just going to throw damage back at Sobermask and the enemies around him. So on turn 1, Law's just basically going to kill all the lackeys with that end of turn damage. And then what we're going to do here is we're actually going to stall out the 4 turns of defense up, because we have 5 turns of damage reduction ourselves, as well as healing. So what I would do on this particular stage is, when he gives the burn and the extra attack, like the extra damage, you just basically want to stall out and make sure you just farm up meat orbs. As we're getting 9k healing back every single turn, Sobermask actually can't do damage to us, as he only does about 7,500 with the damage reduction. So we're actually healing back more than the damage that we're taking, which is really, really handy, as we can just use our other units to farm up meat orbs. So when the auto heal goes away, we have enough like healing basically to keep our HP high. We do want to be above like a certain HP threshold, as Sobermask has a like a revive mechanic, which is very, very annoying. As you guys saw, he does put up extra damage on turn 3, I'm pretty sure it is. And that actually works in our favor, as it just means we're going to throw more damage back with Law on that end of turn. So as you can see, we're doing around 1.4 mil right now, which is really, really good. What I would do here is you just want to try and do as much damage as you can to Sobermask, because we do want to burst him down fairly soon. As you can see, now that his defense up's gone, we're doing around 2.8 mil. So this is where we do want to take him down. And as I mentioned, you do want to be above a certain HP threshold here. So this is where I actually use the Law super typing. So Law's going to give us a 50% heal. It's actually a really good super typing in my opinion. And it just means that we're going to do a lot more damage with our int units against Psi enemies. And as you can see, we can take out Sobermask, easy claps there. And then once we kill him, he has a revive mechanic where he takes away 50% of our HP, heals back. But before he can do anything else, Law's going to come in and actually activate his effect. Now, if you don't have Law, he puts up no damage for 1 turn, and he gives himself 2 turns of attack up, which basically means you're dead with that extra damage debuff. On the final stage against page 1, he has 5 turns of Resilience, 5 turns of Threshold, and gives us 5 turns of attack down, which is very, very annoying. But this is where we can use our Sober Cook to get a full border orbs and 2 times color affinity. We can use our Magella ship to lock our orbs. We have Neptune to remove the resilience and the attack down, and then we can use Reiju here to remove the threshold. So we are going to take 2 turns to take out page 1 with the free-to-play team, unfortunately, but look, it's a free-to-play team, so like it doesn't do heaps of damage, but like 18 mil, still not terrible. Then on the second turn, after we've just done like a mini burst, we can use our Blackbeard and our Law special to finish off page 1. Law's captain ability with just like ignoring despair is really, really handy on this particular piece of content, as normally we would have got like 8 turns of despair there or something stupid like that. But as you can see, we sort of just kind of just clutch out the damage here, and we managed to do around 20 mil against page 1 at the end there. I think he has around 38 million HP, so having cotton candy on some of your units is definitely going to help you guys out. I think my Sobercook, Neptune, and Blackbeard all have attack cotton candy, but the friend Law was obviously pretty high up. I think it was around plus 500 or something like that, but the free-to-play team managed to get it done. As you guys can see, V4 Law, keep doing that. V4 Law actually makes this content way easier than it actually needs to be, but the next team actually just does it ridiculously well. So this is the more pay-to-play int team, I suppose, and as you guys can see here, I don't have my Croc leveled up. As you guys know, I've been away, so I haven't had a chance to even farm that event like more than like twice, I think. So what I actually do on this extra stage is I actually use the end of turn damage of Law just to purely stall. With Blackbeard too here though, you can actually utilize this stage to actually get the effect of Blackbeard and get the cooldowns, and that way you can get the 3 times attack boost and orb boost, or even the 4 times attack and orb boost if you really, really want to. But the 3 times is enough. This is where I was actually contemplating, do I use the Blackbeard special, or do I just hang on to it and that should be enough damage? So in the end, it was enough damage, so you don't really need to stall out to the 4 times attack and orb multiplier. So just make sure you just take a couple hits, I guess. That way you can get your Blackbeard special up once, use it, and then get the 3 times. And then finish off X-Drake and move on to the next stage. Now with this particular part here, he does stun you after sort of 2 turns. I think it's like every 3 turns he stuns you. Which sort of like made my run a little bit more scuffed. So ideally, you just want to kill him before you can get stunned. That way, you're not missing your bottom unit. So I had to basically just take a shot here. It wasn't the end of the world with this team at the end, but I just had to take a shot so I could get rid of that stun. But taking the shot really wasn't a big deal, as it just kills all of those guys around the outside anyway. On the second turn, Sobermusk is going to give us a 3-turn burn, sorry. And this is where we're going to use the amazing special of Buggy. Now, you can put Buggy wherever you want. He has the Limit Break potential ability to remove Special Blind, which is really, really handy. He also changes Block Orbs, he removes the Special Blind, and he removes the defense up as well. Then we can use our Blackbeard special to get the attack and the orb boost, and that's just going to be GG for our boy Sobermusk. With Blackbeard giving us a stupid amount of HP as well, we can just like absolutely decimate him on the revive, as even though we've taken shots this whole run, we have absolutely no issues being above like 20,000 HP to do enough damage to take out Sobermusk on that revive. On to the final stage against Page 1. He turns into a Psy unit. We still have that burn, unfortunately. He puts up 5 turns of Threshold, 5 turns of Resilience, gives us a Despair, and gives us 5 turns of Attack down. He also puts up normal attacks only, which kind of like doesn't really nerf Law here, but like Law's just, he's done his part at this point. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Boa special. She's going to remove the Threshold as well as the Resilience by 5 turns. She also makes our Strength, Dex, and Quick Orbs matching for our Int units too, which is really, really good. But it doesn't really matter, as we have V2 Shanks to give us a full bottle orbs, as well as an attack buff and a chain buff. Then we've got Croc to remove the rest of the burn and the attack down as well. He also gives us color affinity too, which is great. Then we can use the super typings of Blackbeard and Law. That way we can just do heaps more damage. Utilizing Blackbeard and Law hybrid is actually really, really strong, because the Blackbeard triggers Law's super typing, which is just excellent. And as you can see, we have so much damage that we can absolutely destroy Page 1. When you do kill Page 1, he does around 70, I think it's something like 70,000 end of turn damage. But when you bring a V4 Law, obviously you're immune to death for 1 turn. So it works really, really well. If you have double V4 Law though, it should just fly through it, I imagine. It shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. On to the final team now. We are utilizing my boy Shanks' crew. As you guys know, I'm always beating content with Shanks' crew, but we had to bring a friend Roger with this particular team, as we do want to get around that despair mechanic that this content sort of applies. Shanks' crew is really, really good for this content too, as he removes Special Blind, which is just excellent. It works really, really well, this team. We do have VV Becca, Robin, Bobbins, and V3 Law on this team as well. So it is, as I mentioned at the start, it is very pay-to-play heavy, but it's still very, very good. And if you are missing, if you just did not summon at all on the new banners, this team, and you've summoned on previous banners before, this team can definitely work in your favor. So you just absolutely just destroy X-Drake. You just fly through him on that stage 3. And on to stage 4 against Sobermusk, we are going to switch with our Viva Rebecca for a chain lock, and then we can use their special to remove the defense up. Shanks' crew can remove the special bind for us, which is excellent, and then we can use the super typing of Roger, as Shanks' crew triggers that super typing for Roger, and then we can use Roger's special to kill all the enemies around the outside and give us like a 3 times attack boost, which is excellent. Finally, we're going to switch into Shanks so we get a higher attack booster, and then we can just absolutely decimate Sobermusk. It's just like easy claps. Robin does like, what, almost 10 mil, which is crazy. On the revive of Sobermusk, we are going to switch back into our crew. That way we can get damage reduction, as we can't do any damage for the next turn, as you guys can see there. He has the non-damage debuff. Because he gives himself an attack up, we can use the support of the free-to-play Bardo. He's going to give us a little bit of a heal, but he also gives us the Threshold ability to avoid taking too much damage from the extra attack up that Sobermusk gives himself. Sobermusk on turn 3 is going to give us the extra damage. But because of the fact that we have very good limit breaks on this team, we don't have to worry about that. That new extra limit break is just awesome. It's really, really good at just getting around all those little defects that no one liked to bring characters to get around. On the final stage against Page 1 now, he puts up that Threshold and Resilience for 5 turns. He glooms us, but it doesn't matter with Roger. 5 turns of attack down as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to switch with our Shanks' crew to get an attack buff. And then we can use our Bobbins special. Bobbins is excellent, as Bobbins is actually going to remove the Threshold and the attack down. We've also got Law's special here to give us an orb boost and a chain lock. I used Law's special first, before Shanks' crew special. That way, I just like Law's chainlock a little bit more, to be honest. But I don't really think it'll be too much of an issue. Now, you do want to be careful here how much damage you do to page 1. You do want to do around half of his HP, as you can see there. I just sort of stop attacking after I hit with Robin on the 4th attack. As if you do too much damage to him, he will bind your crew, basically. Not your captains, but your crewmates. And if you don't do more than 50% damage, he just does a despair, but Roger doesn't care about that. Because we have the 2 turns of Chainlock, we have the 2 turns of Orb Boost, we can then use our Robin special, who's going to give some recovery orbs and a 2 times attack boost to our Cerebral units. And because we are rocking Shanks' crew, VV Becker, and Robin, we just have so much damage that we can actually just decimate page 1, and then with that 1 hit end of turn damage from Shanks, we can get rid through the resilience. Because Robin has that amazing effect where we don't take damage, the end of turn damage of page 1 isn't going to work, and we can just blast him away. So there you guys go. There are my teams against Coliseum page 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to belt that like button, and if you want to stay up to date with more OPTC content I post, hit that big red subscribe button as well. And if you want to stay up to date even more, hit the bell icon too, so YouTube notifies you when I'm posting my stuff. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!